Do you ever find yourself experiencing high levels of stress, maybe not being able to eat or sleep, or just feeling worried all the time? Well, as college students, we experience these symptoms all the time, and sometimes they can even progress further and turn into something known as generalized anxiety disorder, otherwise known as GAD. GAD is something that affects many people, but is especially important for people like us to understand because we are in college where we are taking big tests and making major changes and decisions in our lives, and stress is very relevant in our lives. For me, GAD has been prevalent in my life because I've had to grow up around a little brother who I was very close to who suffered from this problem. And through being able to learn more about the problem, it helped me to understand him more and be able to help him when he needed it. Some of the main points that I feel like I should address when discussing GAD are the symptoms that can cause it, how it's diagnosed, and how it can be treated. So with that said, I want to dive deeper into understanding these things and just get a greater knowledge of GAD. Before we do that though, I want to start by giving the actual definition. And GAD is defined as the presence of anxiety and worry for at least 6 months, especially related to events and activities in family, community, or professional and academic areas. Like I said, GAD affects everyone, and anxiety affects everyone, but GAD is actually very relevant in itself as well. And actually, according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, GAD affects about 6.8 million Americans, and that's about 3.1% of the U.S. population. Also, it is more common in women rather than men. Oftentimes, the disease can hit you gradually. It'll progress throughout your life, and you'll notice these symptoms, but you won't actually know what's going on. The exact cause of the disorder is unknown, but it is likely caused by biological factors or family life or life experiences that have taken a big toll on you. The symptoms can be hard to understand, but they gradually come on harder. And as you progress through them, they'll start to become more noticeable. A common occurrence for people with GAD is for them to always expect disaster. When something small happens, it all of a sudden is the worst thing in the world, and they feel like everything is shattering. And that's a problem because as this builds up, it becomes a snowball effect, and it just becomes worse and worse on the affected individual. They often experience worry that is completely out of control, and this worry just builds on themselves until they can't feel anything but worry. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, some of the major alarms to look for are restlessness or feeling on edge, fatigue, lack of concentration, irritability, or the inability to stay or fall asleep. Now that we understand the symptoms, I think it is important to understand how this is diagnosed. GAD is diagnosed by a medical professional and is typically done so by asking a series of very in-depth and personal questions to where that the doctor can understand kind of more what's going on inside your brain and make a better diagnosis for you so that you can be treated better. To be diagnosed properly, you must meet some certain criteria, and that is to experience excessive anxiety most days of the week for at least 6 months, have difficulty controlling your feelings or anxiety that causes significant distress, and you can't have anxiety that is related to other health problems because that is a challenge of diagnosing GAD is that it often is related to other problems such as PTSD or panic disorder, depression, substance abuse, or other things such as that. Anyways, now that we understand diagnosis, I think it is important to understand how this is treated. Here, I will show you a graph, and this graph shows that about over 25% of Americans over the age of 18 in the U.S. experience anxiety-related issues, but only 10%, this blue area right here, shows the people who are effectively treated. The reason for this is because people typically do not realize what it is that is going on with them, and they need somebody to help them with their diagnosis so they know how they can be treated. The major version of treatment is medication, and for many people this medication can vary. But recently, a 2018 study has shown that cognitive behavioral therapy, which is therapy where we train the brain to learn how to deal with this anxiety, has actually had some major success. And that's simple things such as taking deep breaths when you start getting worked up, or closing your eyes and just relaxing, and even meditation for some people. But anyways, in conclusion, I feel like it is very important for me to address with you these important facts of anxiety so that we as students can know more about the problem, so that we can know how to help ourselves if we experience the same issue. And I hope that you have been able to gain something from this, and that you can feel better connected with yourself and understand this problem. Thank you.